Thank you, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for a beautiful sort of introduction. So let me just begin my talk with accepting that today here I am in my personal capacity, not as a country director for Star Education. Though I come with a kind of over a decade and a half experience of working in education and child protection. But today I think I am going to speak on the issue related with social sector in general. Not only education, but also touching on certain aspects of social delivery, public good, which is health, livelihood, sanitation, and other aspects. But since you labeled me as educationist, probably I'll do a little more justice while speaking more on education than any other topic for that matter. So thank you so much for having me here, and I am excited to hear other speakers as well. But I was put in a sort of first slot to speak something, so I thought of just sharing my ideas. I think, so today when I speak, I'll just do three things. One is that I share some facts with you. Second is some stories with you. And third is that probably some urges. I'll urge something to you to contribute to the society. So let me start with some facts. And I think some of you or almost all of you would be aware about the social sector, which is actually the sector which helps human being to generate public good, to generate the good which can help human being to enhance their well-being. Social sector is basically the sector which includes the domain related with education, health, livelihood, employment, sanitation, water, climate change. But when it comes to the sort of priority for investment, we often miss to invest in social sector, and industry and corporate takes precedence over any other. But when you look at the sort of the importance of social sector, which is basically formed on the kind of the principles of justice and equity, it has long-term benefit while you see the kind of growth of any country. I am sure that many of you would be aware of Human Development Index. When we talk about it, that was started in 1990 by UNDP. And that was the kind of effort which was made to identify which country stands where on the parameters of health, education, and per capita income. India has not been really top 10 countries across the world, and we always marked as a kind of bottom 10 in the Human Development Index. Not bottom 10, but not really on top 10. So if you look at the India's situation today, we are roughly around 130 in the international rank of SDI. And there are a lot of research have been made by the scholars in the world that directly says that the Human Development Index has a kind of direct relationship with the social investment of any country. When we talk about the facts of social innovation, social investment, let me just begin with education. So if you look at the spending in education, education gets roughly around 3%, 3.5% of the total GDP of the government of India. The total social sector investment is roughly around 6%, which is since like beginning of the budget, though it has started with a kind of 2%, now it has reached to 6%. But I think still, if you look at the kind of need for investment, I think the need for investment in social sector is much, much higher. There have been a lot of committees set up by Government of India and also a lot of independent committees which says that education should get at least 6% of the total GDP and health should get 3%. So there have been multiple campaigns which says that the 9% should go to education and health. But the trend continued little, not in favorable conditions to get the education to 9%, 6% and the health to 9%. We roughly hover around 3.5% in education. And that too, roughly 50% goes to the primary education, that's the elementary education. The higher education, the secondary education gets a little less share in that. But when we talk of the country, we talk of the nation building, we talk of the country of youth, who is going to contribute to the society? Who is going to contribute to the economy? These people sitting in front of me today, or the people like you outside this hall rather, anywhere in the world, they are going to contribute and build the nation. For that, you need to have investment. And what is the tool? I think the tool is the education. If you look at the sort of data, if you look at the reliability of the data, hardly you find any data which can tell you the real story, like what really takes to invest in education and really build the nation for that matter. So we need to build a lot of data to understand like what's the kind of exact scenario of investment in education or any other social sector, but also we'll have to have a kind of, we talk, I mean, at the beginning, we had a conversation about the technology, the use of technology. Technology can definitely play a kind of very favorable role in terms of enhancing the quality of education. But where to get the technology? India is the kind of most youngest country in the world. And also, if you look at the number of mobile phone we use, the penetration is roughly around 80%. And we are hovering towards a kind of 90% in 2020, 2030. And India would be having like probably 95% mobile phone penetration by 2030, which shows that there is a lot of opportunity to do a lot of technological intervention which can help the individual or society to uplift their life standard on day-to-day basis. But what that requires a kind of right investment, right spirit, right motivation, right commitment, right will. But it is not possible, it would never be possible until we bring all these issues as a kind of spotlight. And we say that that should become a kind of political agenda. If you talk about the education being kind of priority for any nation, very few countries in the world has Right to Education Act. We have education as a kind of fundamental right. And we are one of the kind of very few countries in the world who says that the right to education, any child starting from age 6 to go to 14 years of age deserve right to education. And that is free and quality education. But if you look at the trend, starting from 2000, 2001, when there have been Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan in place in the country, there is a lot of investment was made, but that was more to build the infrastructure. That actually ensure a lot of access. If you look at the rural part of the country where only public education system is a possibility, only public education system is the option for any child to go to school. And those children are mostly first generation learner. They are the first one who are going to the school. They only have the public education system. They have the only government primary school to go. When in 2000, 2001, a lot of investment was made. Mostly it was built on the infrastructure. A lot of schools were built, a lot of recruitment of teachers were made. That ensured the access. And today, India is one of the very few countries in the world which ensures more than 90% enrollment in primary education in the country, which is a remarkable achievement by the government of India, starting from 2000 till now. But if you look at the quality of education, there are a lot of studies which says that 3 out of 5 of grade 5 cannot read the text of grade 3. So continuously, if you look the trend, and continuously if you look the quality of education, that is depleting day by day. And there has not been enough sort of contribution to ensure that the quality of education goes high. If you look the spending on the primary education, roughly around 85% goes to the teacher's salary, and 15% goes for the quality of education. Look at the teachers. Teachers are mostly demotivated. When you introduced me at the beginning, I work with the teachers to really help them get motivated, not only teachers, but also the education system. That how education system officers provide that sort of ecosystem for teachers to operate and operate well. So if you look at the status of teachers in India or any developing country for that matter, the teachers are basically demotivated. They don't want to really teach. They don't want to really invest themselves in the teaching, enhancing student learning outcome. And that because of the top-down bureaucratic system. And a lot is built on the basis of carrot and stick, where you are rewarded for certain achievements, but punished for not really doing good. And teachers are blamed for a lot of things. I mean, they are blamed for the bad quality of education, which is creating a lot of divide between community and teachers, between student and teachers. And teachers, they are not really committed and investing themselves. They don't feel autonomous, they don't pursue mastery, and they are not driven by certain purpose. So that's where the whole story of this quality education starts. And for that, you need to invest in the training, you need to invest in the human capacity, you need to invest in the sort of the ecosystem which help teachers to do better and feel queen and king of their classroom. But somehow we miss the sort of buzz, and we put a lot of focus on the access. So the quantity has gone a lot increased, but the quality has been untouched so far. In coming years, I think what would be important to do is to really invest in education, invest in social sector, and not for just getting the infrastructure built. That is also important, but also in the areas like training, in the areas like data, in the areas like big data for that, in the areas like technology, how technology can solve the problem of education is important. When you look at the trend, in terms of the choices for youth as well, corporate becomes the first choice for anyone. And the social sector, in social sector actually struggle a lot to find good talent to really pursue the kind of, the dream, pursue the mission for the social sector. So this is also important to invest in human capital, that people like you, youth like sitting here, the colleges and university, they should also get engaged and really divine their curriculum in such a way that students also get understanding of the social demand and social issues, and they also invest their time and energy to really pursue the vision of equity and harmony and justice. So this is what actually my urge is. So today I think one of the urge is to invest yourself in social domain, not with the money, but also with your time. And it is also important from the policy point of view is to help getting more and more investment in the right direction for the social sector, so as to really build a kind of long-term sustainable society. So with this, I would just close my talk today. Thank you so much for having me.